Drop top down, turn it up, I'm ready to fly. And ooh, there's something about the way your sun shines on my face. It's a love so true, I can never get enough of you. This feeling can't be wrong. I'm about to get my worship on. Take me away. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got no need to worry. I've got no room for doubt. No matter what's coming at me, you'll always be the beautiful I sing about. There ain't no limitations to your amazing grace. Your amazing grace. And there's something about the way your love shines on my face. Oh no, I can never get enough of you. This feeling can't be wrong. I'm about to get my worship on. I'm gonna sing a brand new song. Yeah, I'm about to get my worship on. Take me away on this beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful day.
Well, hello and thank you for joining me. It is a great day to be alive. I'm so excited because God is doing a new thing. Can you not feel it? Can you not see it? Or do you not know it? Well, I'm here today to let you know that it's your time. Not only that, it's your turn to be blessed. But I do believe that God has positioned us here for a purpose. There's a reason why you're living. There's a reason why you're existing. There is a reason why you are here on this earth. And I want to encourage you to say something about something that you've seen. Don't just mumble and complain about it. Find a reason, a purpose, a mission to get involved in the community to make a difference. And so my guest on today, Program Manager Barbara Culberson from Discovery Center of Starkville, Oktibbeha County Consolidated School District, is here to share with us about child abuse and what we can do as a community to help join forces with them during the month of April, which is Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. So good morning, good day, and thank you, Barbara, for joining me.
Good morning, Tammie. It's so great to be here with you on today to share what I love doing. I enjoy doing this,
Yes.
talking with other people to raise awareness so that our kids can be safe
Yes,
and
ma'am.
they can grow up and thrive and survive.
Amen. And that's the thing, thrive and survive.
Yes.
But as parents and adults, our job is to love them and not
Yes,
hurt them.
right.
But in your profession, you see all the time where children are being abused.
Mhm.
And I want to just stop and just talk about the different types of abuse. Just share with those that are watching the different types of abuse.
There are basically 4 categories. One is, of course, what we recognize, physical abuse, which has bruises, fractures. You can see something that you can see.
Right.
But then we have emotional abuse or verbal abuse. That's words that hurt or statements that are hurtful. And then we have sexual abuse, and that's any type of inappropriate contact, sexual contact with a child. And the last one is neglect.
Yeah.
And that is just failing to provide some things that you should be providing for your children.
And sometimes people don't realize that when you leave your child at a young age in the home without food, without their necessities, that's a form of neglect.
It is.
Yeah.
Not taking them to their doctor's appointment. And maybe if they had gone and got a vision screening, something could have been detected, and then they wouldn't have to have the consequences of not being able to see.
Right.
Dental screenings.
Yes.
A lot of things, if we can detect it early, we can prevent further trauma or illnesses later.
What about it's winter time?
Yes.
The child has no coat. Is that a form of neglect
it
or
is.
inappropriate clothing?
It is, because a parent has a responsibility to provide for those type of things for their child, for the children. And so when they don't do that, that is a form of neglect.
Yeah. We hear so often the abuse.
Yes.
The child being placed in the microwave. And some of you all that are watching right now, you may say, Miss Tammie, that doesn't happen. Yes, it does. Share
Yes.
some light, Barbara, if you will.
Oh, wow. Putting a child in the oven and baking it. Sometimes if you see marks on a child where they have grabbed them by their wrist and wired things around them, something
Mhm.
that's the shape of an object,
Mhm.
burn them with an iron, sticking things in their, we call them private parts.
The cigarette burns
Cigarette
as a
burns.
form of punishment.
Yes. You know, and it's abuse.
Yeah.
It's not punishment. And so that's one of the things that we try to do is teach how proper ways to discipline. Because someone may say, I'm not abusing my child because I burned them with a cigarette. I want them to know it. I want them want to get their attention.
Mhm.
But there are other things that you can do to get the attention of your child and
Right.
teach. So proper discipline should teach and train.
Absolutely.
And it should not cause pain for that child.
Right. And we're going to talk a little bit about the different parenting styles.
Yes.
But I want those that are watching us to kind of understand the abuse really affects a child at a young age, and it can go into their adulthood. So
Yeah.
as parents, we have to be mindful of what we do and what we say, because would you agree that somebody saying, you're stupid, is that a form of abuse?
It is.
Mhm.
It is certainly a form of abuse, and it is tearing down your child. And sometimes you may want, why, you know, if you can affect a child's way of thinking about themselves, how a person thinks, that's who they are.
Mhm.
And if you keep telling me that I'm nothing, I'm going to think that I'm nothing.
Right.
And I'm going to present myself that I'm nothing to society.
Mhm.
And that makes that person vulnerable. That makes that person a prime target for people that would want to bully them.
Mhm.
That makes that person a prime target for someone that would want to take advantage of them in some type of way. So we want to try to build up our children and build up their confidence and their self-image of who they are as a person.
Right.
So that when they get older, you know, many times, Tammie, we'll find when you find someone that abuses someone that's a child, that has occurred to them before. Hurting people hurt other people.
Mhm.
And so when you hurt your children early on, those things, like you said, carry on into life. And as they carry on into life, they may in turn do that again to someone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because that's the behavior that they have,
Mhm.
except that's all they know.
That's what they
And
know.
it starts as young as how old have you, I mean, research, because I know you all, the month of April is set aside for
Yes.
awareness, where you raise awareness. So you have the statistics, you have the pinwheels,
Yeah.
and you all are throughout the community letting people know that it's not okay. It should not hurt to be a child.
Sadly, the age that's abused the most, 2-year-olds.
Wow.
They can't verbalize a lot. They're still learning, and what we find with that age group, even sexual abuse, is the age of 2. So before they get a chance to know what is normal,
Right.
they have had their innocence taken.
Mm-hmm.
Many times when that happens, they may never be able to have children because their bodies have been destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So a 2-year-old, can you imagine if you could think of somebody that you know that's 2 years old,
My God.
and now they have been traumatized in this way? Now, somewhere within themselves, they kind of maybe would know something has happened to them,
Mhm.
but they don't know what normal is. So now they accept this abuse as normal.
Yeah.
Even if it's physical or emotional abuse, at 2 years old, they begin to accept
Mm-hmm.
that as who they are.
What can we do as parents, as advocates, community leaders, if we were to see it or we just assume something is going on, something is not right? What is our obligation?
Everyone is a mandated reporter. Sometimes they think only teachers and doctors and
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Mhm.
that we are mandated reporters. But let me tell you, if you see something and you suspect something and you don't report it, I mean, there are legal consequences if later on it's found out that you knew.
Mhm.
So you have a responsibility. The person in the grocery store, the neighbor next door, if you suspect something, you have an obligation to report. And they have made it so you can report anonymously.
My
So you don't
God.
even have to share your name. You could be a family member, because sometimes we have these things going on in families.
Mhm.
And maybe I don't want to tell on my sister's boyfriend,
Mhm.
you know, because that's going to cause a problem in the family. but you can report it anonymously. Nobody has to know that the sister called
Yeah.
or the mother called. And do that, and just let someone who's trained to go out and do the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to know that it's occurring. You only have to suspect.
Yes.
And then it'll be found out if it's true or if it's not. And
Yeah.
that 800 number is 1-800-222-8000. 1-800-222-8000. Or you can go online at msabusehotline.com.
Mm-hmm.
Either one of those ways, you can go and report anonymously if you suspect something.
And then too, there are signs and symptoms that we need to be aware of.
Oh, yes.
One that I think you talk about a lot, little Johnny is acting up all of a sudden. What?
Yeah, this could be or could not be. But anytime there's a change in behavior in your child, something has happened.
Mm-hmm.
You may not, but as a parent, you have to find out what that is.
Absolutely.
If they were outgoing and now they're withdrawn, if they were potty trained but now they're bedwetting again,
Mm-hmm.
they're having nightmares. There's some people that they don't want to be around. They are fearful, or there are just many times we'll see things that we'll overlook.
Yeah.
And don't overlook those things. Don't overlook it because I want to keep this person in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Or I love this man, or
Yeah.
I love this woman. You don't overlook that.
Yeah.
Pay attention to how they treat people that they say that they love.
Mm-hmm.
If they're disrespectful to their mother or their sisters, they're most likely not going to treat your children or you any better than that.
That's right.
So things that we overlook can sometimes be clues into what I'm dealing with here.
Mm-hmm.
And
children, especially young babies, when they are holding you and screaming because no, go to Aunt Susie, she's okay, and that baby is screaming and clawing, that's a sign of fear. Something has happened.
Yes,
that's their only way of communicating. So we have to make sure that we pay attention even on those terms.
Yeah. You have to pay attention to. This is why it's so important to spend time with your children, because that's the only way you're going to know if there's a change.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just hitting and missing and seeing each other coming and going, you have to bond with your children. And I always like to encourage, bond early.
Yeah.
You can't wait till they're 13 because they're going to start thinking they know more than you.
Absolutely.
But you bond with your children early on, and it continues throughout their life. Then they're going to be more likely to share things with you. And these are things that as a parent, we want to make sure that our children know that they can tell me anything.
Absolutely.
No matter how good it is, no matter how bad, and I'm not going to judge you, but I can come to you and talk to you about anything. And that's how I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we can do to help work towards preventing some of these things.
Absolutely. Communication is key. And for those that are watching me right now, I just have to feel led by the Spirit. I know we're talking about child abuse, but there's so many things that our kids go through. There's sex trafficking, but there's this online attraction right now that's taking root. And I feel like, Barbara, we need to kind of discuss, because some parents are not tech savvy.
Yes.
They don't know about a lot of the different types of apps that our children are on. OnlyFans.com. They have no clue what that is. Things that are going on Snapchat, where I read that there was a drug dealer on Snapchat that was selling pills to children, and a lot of those kids thought they were actually getting, something that would put them to sleep or relax their mind, candy, and it ended up being drugs with fentanyl in it, and it killed them. So those parents that are watching me, I know you're saying, well, I don't do social media. You may want to have a friend or someone to introduce so that you can know what your child is doing. How important is it for us to be involved, especially with these cellular devices and the apps and online interaction that's taking place?
Just think about it. When you give your child a cell phone, you have now exposed them to the world. That child now has access. Now there are some things that you can do to try to block some of the stuff or try to filter out some things, but you got to stay in tune to what they're doing. You got to, they shouldn't have a password and you can't get in. That's your phone. You're paying.
I agree.
And so you got to be able to not be concerned about being your child's friend, but being your child's parent. So we have given them something that does not always have all good stuff on it.
Amen.
And
they know how to
maneuver around.
Yes.
And they change these little emojis and things from time to time. When adults figure out what they're doing, they move on to something else. And so that's why you have to kind of stay updated. Just think about it. Your child is not eligible to vote until they turn 18. Your child is not legally allowed to drink and do all these other things until they're, 21 or whatever. And so, but you give them a phone.
It's wide open.
And now they have access to all this stuff.
Yes.
And so I think that's one of the things that, and then the adults that are behind a lot of this, they really don't have to do a lot of work, Tammie, because they get other kids to get the kids. That's one of the things that we see so much happening. It's if you get this child, then that child can go get 3 more. We got us a ring going here, and they can make money.
Right.
And so you got to pay attention. If your child has got some new stuff or some expensive stuff, and you didn't buy it, where did it come from? These are questions and conversations you need to have.
Right.
You may think your child is in bed, and your child is not. Your child is going out the window.
And having boundaries is a timeline. And I know there may be some people say, well, I don't do all of that. That's not my parenting style. In this day and time, you need to know or monitor what's going on with your child in that cell phone, because predators, they hit as they say, the DM. Now they actually send you a text message, and they will threaten you. I'll do this if expose you, or if you don't do this. And a lot of times the kids can't take that capacity. And we were very aware of a situation that happened in Starkville, where the young child committed suicide because of that online predator.
And not being able to deal with whatever may have happened before that.
Yes.
I don't want all these people to know this. I messed up. And instead of going to the parent, I messed up, help me, it's like, now just let me take my life. And so we have to be, as parents, mindful of that. We are fortunate that we have, during the month of April, we have several events, but one of them is we're having a representative from the Mississippi Attorney General's office is coming on April the 13th to our Greensboro Center in Starksville.
Yes.
That's 401 Greensboro Street in Starksville on the 13th. And he is going to be talking about this very topic, Tammie. He's going to be talking about cyber crimes and apps and all the ways that they lure children in, and what we can do as parents, caregivers to try to help prevent some of these things.
You're right. And we have to get the resources out. So what time does that actually start, so that those that are watching will be able to attend? And we'll get this information out to you back on social media, so that if you need to register or contact Barbara, you can also do that, and share with some other parents in regards to the cyber online bullying, just the predators and the whole world, because it's a ring of it.
Right.
Once upon a time here, it wasn't as bad, but now because of social media, they can rear you in from across the country, and the child can be gone in the blink of a second.
In the blink.
So what time is it?
The actual speaking engagement starts at 6.
Okay.
But prior to that, we have other organizations will have little expo tables where you can come and get information from some of the other organizations from around the state. We have them that are going to be there starting at 5 o'clock. We have a food truck that will be there at 4:30. So we know some people may be coming from work, may not have time to stop and get something to eat. So you can stop by the food truck, get you something to eat, and then come on and be a part of the event. Some people need contact hours. We are able to provide contact hours for this event. If you need that, let us know. Also, it's, It's just going to be, I believe, very, very educational. I was at a conference. We went to a conference last year, One Live Voice Conference, one of my favorites, Tammie. And he was a presenter. And so I asked him if he could come
And voila.
to our area. And he was more than willing to come. It's free. So you don't have to pay anything. Just come and learn.
That's that green personality you asked last year.
Last year.
And it's such a time needed this year.
This year.
I mean, just God is just so on time. He already knew what was going to occur, that the people in our area would need this man to come in, the representative, to come in and give these resources. Let's backpedal a little bit, because all of this is in regards to Child Abuse Prevention Month, which is April. Can you give us some history of how, or did it actually derive to start? Was it a mother, a grandmother who actually said, you know what, it's time to make a difference?
Yeah. So this is so important. It was a grandmother. You know, child abuse occurs in all different type economic groups, racial groups. There's no one group, or you know, that it doesn't. So it does occur. But this grandmother was seeing bruises on her her grandchildren, and she was kind of disabled herself. She wasn't really able to take them herself, but she did try to intervene a few times, and it didn't happen. Before they finally were able to get some help for the children, the daughter's boyfriend killed one of her grandchildren.
My God.
This was a grandmother in, she was from Chesapeake, Virginia. And her name is Miss Bonnie Finney. And so she felt so bad because she suspected something was happening. Prior to this time, can I just tell you, animals had more rights than children. You know, there was a few cases that had worked its way through the system where they were trying to get more protection for children, but you could do something to an animal and you could be in jail like that. But do something to a child and that's personal, that's in the house, that's in the home, that's family business, and we don't intervene in that. But this grandmother saw this, and so she decided, this has happened to my grandson, but I don't want it to happen to anybody else. So she tied a blue ribbon. That was back during the days when cars had antennas.
Antennas, a long antenna. Yes.
Back in it was 1989, I believe it was 1980s, in the 1980s, and she tied a blue ribbon on her antenna. So when she would ride around town, they was like, "What is that for?" It became a conversation piece. And so from that conversation piece, we got the blue ribbon, which is one of the national symbols for child abuse prevention.
Yes. And
she was able to then share her story. When they would ask, she would share what she had seen, what she witnessed, and then other people were able to do the same. Well, okay, I can think about, you know, maybe some stuff going on in my family. And then this could help save the life of another child.
Yes.
So she kind of started it, and I will say the first president that acknowledged April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month was Ronald Reagan.
Wow.
And every president since then has issued a proclamation declaring that April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month.
Praise God. So the grandmother saw something, but really didn't know. But then she said, you know, I have to make a difference so this doesn't happen again.
Doesn't happen again.
Once again, those that are watching me, I want to say this. If you see something, say something. Sometimes you have to get out of the norm. As my frat brother said so often, you know, rest in peace. Get in good trouble, necessary trouble, to make a difference and let your voice be heard. Senator, he said that boldly, and you have to be able to sometimes step in the troubled water so that something could happen. Years later, we still have that blue ribbon that we pin on in recognition of Child Abuse Prevention Month. Wow. And even the pinwheel is significant. Tell us about the pinwheel.
The pinwheel, that is, in some cultures, the pinwheel represents turning an obstacle into an opportunity. So it represents the innocence of life. So you can see like the pinwheel just continues to evolve and to blow as the wind blows it. And so it represents childhood innocence, the purity of the child, how it begins. And no matter what happens, it doesn't have to stay that way. even if the child, we don't want them to be abused,
Mhm.
but it gives them hope that even if that
Yes.
did happen, you have the opportunity to start new.
Yes.
You that does not define who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That just means something may traumatic have happened, but who you are as a person.
Yes.
You are a human being, you have value, you have worth. And so no trauma can take that away from you.
Mhm.
And that's what we want to communicate. So that's what the Pinwheel does.
Oh, wow.
And we will be planning some of those at the Discovery Center on this coming Friday at
Mhm.
12. We welcome the community to come out. We plan a little pinwheels every year to
Wow.
represent that.
And just when the wind blows and they're moving,
They're
you can just
moving.
see things shifting and changing.
Yeah,
And just like you said, reminding anyone that it doesn't stay the same.
it doesn't stay
It
the same.
evolves, it
Yeah.
moves, it shifts. What
Yeah.
time is that pinwheel ceremony?
It's at 12, and the Discovery Center. We're located at 1504 Louisville Street in Starksville at 12 o'clock, and we will be out. We have the pinwheels. You don't have to bring any.
Mhm.
And actually, we do have some we'll give to you. If you want to
Awesome.
come, take some back with you to your organization. We have some materials, information. Tammie knows I'm like a knowledge junkie, so I always collect stuff. And
Yes.
so we have information that we can
Mhm.
give you on child abuse and ways to prevent, and a lot of different things that we give out to the community at this time to help
Mhm.
raise awareness.
And not only that, I think we've done in the past where with that the bag that's filled with the pinwheel and the information, it's a great conversation piece one-on-one with your children
Yes.
to plant a personal pinwheel garden at your home
Yes.
and share with them about child abuse and to kind of ask those questions. Anyone been touching you? Is anything going on? Where they're able to communicate with you.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. And Tammie, you said that one of the things that, because especially with little children,
Mm-hmm.
you have to talk to them in a language that they can kind of get.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just kind of, if they're old enough to wear a bathing suit, or you can put a bathing suit on them, then we say everything behind the bathing suit is private.
Amen.
And so you put one, it could be a little child, baby,
Mm-hmm.
barely walking. And you can teach them, if someone touches you behind any one of this area here,
Mhm.
let me know.
Yes.
Because that's a private, no one else should be touching you there.
Mhm.
And can I tell you, sometimes it's just family members. We have even had fathers, mothers, I think we mentioned that earlier,
Yes.
grandmothers, that have actually done abusive things to their children.
Mhm.
We had a case some time ago. There was just a lot of incest in this family.
Yeah.
And the children grew up in that. And it was wild.
And they thought it was the norm.
It was normal, and it was not normal.
Mhm.
And it was just like a neighborhood family,
Mhm.
everybody in here. And so this is not.
It's abuse.
And so,
Wow.
yeah, so we, things that you just could not imagine,
Mhm.
it happens.
And that's why I'm so grateful today that you took the opportunity to share with the community and the viewers that are watching on our live social media to let them know that even though it may wow you, it
This
happens.
beautiful day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful